Sunday, you know? He does, the gang does.
Jeez, oh, Pete, let me go.
You all kid you? Talking about me shot the modest girl last Sunday?
I wasn't either, Taggart.
Don't you contradict me.
We was just walking together. Jeez, oh, Pete.
I know what you was doing. My little Gracie Senior. Now you stay away from modest girl, or you'll hear from me till who laid the rails. Hill, I'll see you in City Hall Monday morning, 10 o'clock about that band business. And I want his credentials.
Constable, I'll be responsible for the boy.
Oh, you don't know this kid, Professor? He's tricky. This guy's a gang way around the corner from him.
Now, Constable, I'll show you how to break up a gang. Oh, excuse me, young lady. Miss, what's your name?
Zanita, I didn't have any of you expecting me. You guys.
Zanita, do you know Tommy Gius?
No.
Tommy, this is Anita. Escort the young lady home. By way of the penny.
Yes, sir. Do I have to?
You have to.
Yes, sir.
You guys.
Well, Professor, you're a pretty bright young fella, so you made 2 mistakes there.
Oh?
Well, the mayor happened to own that billiard parlor and that pool table you was talking about.
Oh. What was my other mistake?
That's Anita. She's the mayor's oldest girl.
Excuse me, Professor Hill. We would like to see your credentials. We're the school board. Academic certificates. Nothing of the kind. We need letters and paper. I swear, it's always like this. Just make him put up a bond, please.
What am I hearing? You, sir. Say, ice cream.
Ice cream. No, I don't say it, that's what you're asking.
Talk then. Down here. Talk slow. You see, singing is just sustained talking. Now you. Now you. From now on, you'll never see one of these men without the other 3.
Mr. Hill, that's where you're wrong. These men have hated each other for 15 years.
I don't suppose you live alone or anything.
No.
I've got some wonderful caramels in the hotel if you...
Mr. Hill.
Professor Hill.
Professor of what? At what college did they give a degree for annoying women on the street like a Saturday night rowdy at a public dance hall?
I wouldn't know anything about that. I'm a conservatory man myself. Gary, Indiana. Gold medal class buck 5.
Even should that happen to be true, what gives you the right to follow me around wherever I go? Another thing, Mr. Hill, I'm not as easily mesmerized or hoodwinked as some of the people in this town. And I think it's fair to warn you that I have a shelf full of reference books in there, which may very well give me some interesting information about you.
Professor Hill, Professor Hill. Oh, Professor Hill, we're all agog, simply agog.
Everybody's so excited about the band.
I'm Ethel Toffelmucker.
And this is Mrs. Hicks and Mrs. Squires. And of course you've met Eulalie McKechnie-Shin, the mayor's wife. Isn't this exciting, Eulalie?
Oh, I could say. I simply could not say. My husband will wish to investigate, I'm sure. So simply, I'm reticent. Simply reticent.
Of course, Mrs. Shin, I understand. But you see, part of my plan to put a committee on the dance and... Wait, do that again. The way you raised your foot just now.
Oh, I have a bunion there that bothers
Oh,
me.
what grace! What natural flow of rhythm! What expression of line and movement!
Mr. Hill.
You must accept the chairmanship for the ladies' auxiliary for the classical dance, mustn't she, ladies?
Yes.
Mrs. Shin, every move you make bespeaks Del Sarte. Will you say yes, Mrs. Shin?
Well, that is, Eulalie McKechnie-Shin. Dancing.
So you will?
Yes, and I'd like to say.
Thank you. Now, the young lady who plays the piano, Marion Peru, I believe. After all, she is the librarian. Dirty books.
Chaucer.
Rabelais.
Balzac. And the worst thing, of course, I should tell you this, but
I'll tell.
The man on my street, let me tell.
stop! I'll tell. She made brazen overturns to a man who never had a friend in this town. She, old Miser Madison.
Miser Madison? Madison Gymnasium, Madison Picnic Park, Madison Hospital, that Miser Madison?
Exactly. Who do you think he was anyway?
Well, I should say. Show off. Gave the town the library too, didn't he?
That's just it. When he died, the library went to the city.
But he left all the books to her.
She was seen going and coming from his place.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That was a crazy overture. Just as guaranteed. She had golden eye and silver voice and counterfeit ring. Just melted down in a dough mill, a lump of lead as cold as steel, and here, a woman's heart should be. Chaucer.
Rabelais.
Balzac. She just made you read your credentials!
Of course. I just went over to the house. If you just follow me. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. We're going to Mrs. Peru, do you realize you have the facial characteristics of a cornet virtuoso?
I'm not sure I understand you entirely, Professor.
Well, if your boy has that same firm chin and those splendid cheek muscles, by George! Not that he could ever be really great, you understand.
Oh, and in the name of St. Bridget, why not?
Well, you see, all the really great cornet players, they were Irish. O'Clark, O'Mendez, O'Klein.
Professor, we are Irish.
No. No, really. What touches it? Sign here, Miss Peru. Your boy was born to play the cornet. That was $7. Earnest money. No more due until the first installment, payable at the opening of band practice. And of course, I'll need to work measurements for his uniform.
His uniform.
Hello, son.
Would it have
A stripe? Certainly, my boy. A wide red stripe running down on each side. What do you think of that?
You'll have to excuse Winthrop, Professor. We can't get him to say 3 words a day, even to us. So, if you can get him to play in the band, it would be a miracle. Where did you say you were from again?
Gary, Indiana. In fact, Gary Conservatory was my alma mater.
What's she now?
Gold medal class, about 5. Miss Marion.
Mr. Hill,
He wants to put Winthrop in the band.
do you just barge in on everyone's life like this?
Marion!
We're not interested.
Now, why not let the boy's father decide?
The boy's father is dead. Anything else?
Professor, I do hope you'll excuse Marion. She's not
Please.
really...
I'm sure that at heart she's as lovely as herself. Good day to you, Mrs. Peru.
Good day to you too, Professor. Marion Peru!
Has he gone yet?
Darling, I sure hope not forever. Don't you ever think about your future. The gold medal class of all 5. Now, darling,
Now, Mama, the fact that he claims his commodity is music in this particular case does not impress me.
all right, darling, all right. Only it's a well-known principle if you keep the flint in one drawer and the steel in another, you'll never strike much of a fire.
Mama! Winthrop, I know you're there. Please come to the library and ask Miss Grove to give you the book I set aside. It's the Indiana State Journal, volume 1890 to 1910.
Do I have
I've written it all down. You won't have to say a word.
Now, what Why do you need books at this hour of the night?
I get a feeling the Indiana Journal may help you poke some large holes in the professor's claims.
Zanita! Hey, Zanita! Meet me after supper?
Meet you where?
The footbridge.
The lumberyard and now the footbridge? And where will we meet after that? In the black hole of Calacuto?
Didn't I say?
God's Tommy, it's Papa!
Didn't I say? Get this spellbinder Harold Hill's credentials. I said it the morning of July 4th, 1912.
Yes, George Webb.
And now the whole town turned upside down. School board singing up street and down alley instead of attending to city matters.
Mayor Shin, I found something interesting in this book about Professor Hill's alma mater,
Is who?
his university.
I know all about that. In fact, it's one of the only things I never get out of it. Gary Conservatory, gold medal, class of Oxford.
If you'll just take a minute to look in this book, you'll have to look no further. It's on page...
Papa, the Wells Fargo wagon is coming up from the depot.
The Wells Fargo wagon, at this hour of the day.
It might be band instruments.
Band instruments? I want that man's credentials.
Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is a-coming down the street. Please let it be for me. Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is a-coming down the street. I wish I knew what it could be. I got a box of maple sugar on my birthday. In March I got a great mackinac. And once I got some grapefruit from Timber. Montgomery Ward sent me a battle and a cross song. The Wells Fargo wagon is a-coming now. Is it a free thing, surprise, or COT? It could be curtains or dishes or a double wide, or it could be something special, something very, very special now just for me. Oh, the Wells Fargo wagon is a-coming now. I don't know how I can ever wait to see. It could be something for someone who is no religion, or it could be something special just for me. Whoa, the Wells Fargo wagon is a-coming. Whoa, the Wells Fargo wagon is a-coming. Whoa, the Wells Fargo wagon, don't forget to make a stop until you stop for me.
Band instruments.
Here you are, Winthrop.
My clarinet, you thank you, Professor.
Men, you will each receive individual instruction in due course. In the meantime, stay off the streets, get acquainted with your instruments, and think about the minuet in G. La-di-da-di-da-di-da.
Victor, I never thought I'd see anything so scrumptious, throwing old things. Oh, Victor.
Round one for you, Mr. Hill. But I'd better hear some by-dad tooting out of them horns in pretty short order, or I'll see you in front of the grand jury. Now, Miss Mary, about that book.
Now come, George.
Just a minute now, dear. I need something from the library. Now, about that book.
I've never seen Winthrop so happy. Thank you, Professor.
My pleasure, Miss Peru.
Start her up, Mr. Washburn. Wait till you see the new moves Professor Hill taught us.
All right, what'll it be?
The shaboopy.
Well, Winthrop, this
kiss on the very first date is usually a hussy, and a woman who'll kiss on the second time out is anything but fussy. But a woman who'll wait till the third time around, head in the clouds, feet on the ground, she's the girl he's got you found. She's his shaboopy, 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 the girl who's hard to get. Shaboopy, 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 but you can win her yet.
Come on, Professor, show us some new stats.
Take your hands off my daughter!
Mr. Shin, Your Honor. Your daughter and I are going pretty steady behind your back. I mean, we'd rather do in front of your back, but...
I'm going to warn you once more.
Now, George.
Not one poop out of you, madam.
I think he needs
You actually written all over you, kid. Reform school. Now, get out! Get out, you wild kid!
Papa, please. It's counselors like you make blood in the marketplace. Ye God.
You learned your phraseology. Go home, young woman.
Mr. Mayor, I want you to know, I'm vouching for Tommy Gius. That boy's got the confidence of every kid in town. And you'll be waiting in line to shake his hand by the time our band plays its first concert.
By the time your band plays its first concert, the individual members will let the foregather in wheelchairs and on crutches. They might have broken legs, they will examine each other from tripping over their own beards. Now let me tell you something, my fine young feathered friend. Oh, forget it. Oliver, Casey, Ewan, Olin. I want this man's credentials and I want him tonight. Don't let him out of your sight. He's slippier than a Mississippi sturgeon.
Professor Hill, I think Mayor Shin behaved abominably, and I think it's wonderfully of you coming to Tommy's defense.
Well, a man can't dodge the issue every time a little personal risk is involved. What does the poet say? A coward dies 1,000 deaths. A brave man, only 500.
I just wish that I was a little bit more informed. I've been meaning to ask you about Winthrop's cornet.
His cornet? Brother Pearl Keys.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine, but he talks about some think system. If he thinks the minuet G, he won't have to bother with the notes. Now, Professor.
Miss Mary, the think system is a revolutionary method, I'll admit. But I cannot talk about such things in public. If you'll allow me to call. When may I call?
Why, any night this week.
Mr. Hill, please join those stars for me. You're so determined to prove Professor Hill.
Yes, very pretty. Your golden shimmering hair of silver choose for all to see. We know that she will suit her full of beauty heart, pure as gold. Here, a woman's heart should be.
Is she?
No, he's learning all about his hometown, Gary, Indiana. He said he's taking them someday. And he taught me a dance. Can I blow you?
Of course.
Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana. Let me say it once again. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana. That's the town that newlywed. If you like to have a logical explanation, how I happened upon this elegant syncopation, I will say without a moment of hesitation, there is just one place something like my face. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, or Rome. But Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, my home sweet home.
I'll be back in a minute after Village on 9 o'clock.
Leave the dishes. I'll do them, Mama.
You're the piano teacher in town.
Yes.
Then you must know about this fellow Hill, forming a boys' band here.
Why, yes.
Well, don't let him worry you no more. I got the good doctor in spades. Ah, that swindling 2-bit thimble ringer. Right, number 8 when he makes a 15-minute water stop.
Who are you?
It's Charlie Cowell, anvil salesman. You forgot the B. But just right now, I'm out to protect the good traveling fraternity from that swindler.
Mr. Cowell, you're making a big mistake.
Mistake my old lady's corset cover. Ah, that man's been the raspberry seed in my tooth just long enough. He spoiled Illinois for me, and he's not going to spoil Iowa. Say, what kind of music teacher are you anyways? You didn't see right through his disguise? He's no more professor.
Oh, I know all about that. Band leaders are always called professor. It's a harmless deception. And he's a fine director, and his scholastic...
Wait a minute. A fine director? Have you heard one on the music from any band?
No, but...
But that's nothing, girly girl. That man's never formed a band in his life, and he never will.
You'll never catch the train at the depot. You have to catch it at the crossing.
No, sir. I gotta leave word about that fellow Hill. And I can see why he's the one to leave a wait.
I've never met a man who sells anvils. That's something, well, quite interesting.
Yeah, well, taking some real salesman, I can tell you that. Anvils have a limited appeal, you know. Wait, what am I doing? If I miss that train, I'll be fired. I gotta leave word about that fellow Hill.
Leave word with me.
Not on your tin type. How do I know you deliver these letters?
Try me. There's your train, now run for it.
Why, you double-dipping little... Who do you think you're protecting? That man's got a go in every county in Illinois. That's 102 counties, not counting the piano teachers like you he posts up to keep their mouths shut. Neither one of you has heard less of me, girly girl.
Marion, who is that useless? Why, Professor Hill?
Mrs. Peru, top of the evening, Miss Marion.
Why don't you two, come up and set? I think I've got some jelly on the stove.
There's no jelly on the stove, Mama.
Well, I'll put some on.
Shall we set, as your mother said?
We could sit on the porch steps. But, Professor Hill, is it true that you've... Well, what I'm trying to say is, I must be a very dull woman of your experience.
Where'd you get an idea like that?
One hears rumors of traveling salesmen.
Now, Miss Marion, you shouldn't believe everything you hear. After all, one also hears rumors of librarians.
I suppose you're referring to Uncle Matty.
Uncle Matty?
Mr. Madison, my father's best friend. He left me an assured job so Mother Winthrop and I would have some security. Surely you don't believe.
Of course not. But that's just what I'm saying. Why do you think people start these rumors in the first place?
Narrow-mindedness, jealousy. Jealousy, I guess.
Exactly. And jealousy mostly starts rumors about traveling salesmen. What have you heard?
Well, it just stands to reason that Your attention to detail and to customers might be easily misinterpreted, mightn't they? Me no, honestly, mightn't they?
Why?
And if somebody were jealous, say another salesman, well, they could just be downright lies, couldn't they?
What could?
Rumors and things.
Of course.
It just stands to prove that you should never believe everything you've ever said.
Well, I'd love to discuss things with you, Miss Marion, but can you do it sitting down? You do sit on your eat then.
We could sit on the porch steps.
We could also sit in a large hollow log with a footbridge.
Oh, I couldn't think of it. I've never been to the footbridge with a man in my life.
Just to talk. Maybe there in 15 minutes?
Oh, I couldn't. Maybe some other day. Maybe tomorrow.
My dear little library, pile up enough tomorrows and you'll find you've collected nothing but a lot of empty yesterdays. I don't know about you, but I'd like to make today worth remembering. The footbridge, 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Mama! What? I just told Professor Hill I'd meet him at the footbridge in 15 minutes.
Glory be and saints be praised. It works.
What does?
I've been using the big system on you from the parlor.
Stop! Listen to this man! You gullible green grass goats! I'm talking about